Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for June 1, 2015. Roll call, please.
Marty Bassett.
Here.
Thomas Wood. Martin Vanek.
Here.
Michael Cash.
Here.
Meg LaFave. Here. James Thompson.
Here.
Rick Collins.
Mr. Wood is here. I can see him out of the left corner of my eye. I've marked him in even though he wasn't able to say here. Resolution 123, approving the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of May 18, 2015 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second Mr. Wood. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Martin Vanek.
Yes.
Michael Cash.
Yes.
Meg LaFave.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, the resolution carries. We have a public hearing scheduled for this evening, so I'm going to leave the regular agenda. And I'd like to call the public hearing to order at 7:02. If I can have a motion to open the public hearing.
So you going to say what the public hearing's for?
Yes, I am. Mr. Cashman, do I get a second?
Second.
Ms. LaFave, any discussion on that? I did have one, and this is a public hearing concerning the town's micro-enterprise program, a grant for community development purposes. Before I even ask if there are any written comments and we open this up, we have Nicole Allen from the LaBerge Group. LaBerge Group is our consulting engineering services. And Nicole will be working with us to develop and submit the grant, and I've asked her if she would just do an overview first of all, and then we'll go from there. So, Nicole, it's all yours. Thank you.
Any particular place you want me to speak, or just loud?
That's our camera right behind your back, and that will work pretty good from there.
All right, great. So yes, the town has made the decision, the resolution to pursue a community development block grant. And through the community development block grant, CDBG, one of the requirements is that you have a public hearing and provide information to the community about what it is. The grant that's being sought after is the micro enterprise grant, which is to create job opportunities for low and moderate income persons, and or help assist low to moderate income business owners or entrepreneurs. So through this grant, the town would be seeking $200,000, which is due at the end of July. July 31st is when the grant is due. That's the maximum award, and then the beneficiaries would be startup businesses and existing businesses, which would have about a $20,000 grant, depending on what their need is, to go and fund capital projects, fixtures, machinery, their business expenses related to that, help employee training, and be able to start creating some low to moderate income jobs. And that's the key element there. They either have to have the low to moderate income job created, or at least make it available to. And by making it available to, it is a position that doesn't necessarily have a high degree, doesn't require a master's degree or a PhD to be able to fulfill the job requirements. And then it can be fulfilled by anyone that has that expertise within the community. The business owners are required to provide a matching fund of 10%, whatever their project costs are, and they are required to complete a training program. The town is going to work with the North Country Small Business Center to provide that training on behalf of the businesses that are eligible to apply. And that's basically the program itself. So the grant will be due at the end of July. The funds will be awarded and anticipated in December, and then if selected, this would begin in January of 2016.
Nicole, when we did this previous, the applicant was responsible for the cost of the training session to develop their business plan, etc. And then if they were funded, that was reimbursed. I didn't hear you say that this time.
Right, that would be the same case. They would be eligible for that training, and then it could be reimbursed through the program. Correct. And that could be counted as part of their 10% match as well. They need to provide an equity of cash in some form towards the program. And I do have sample pre-applications available with my business card over there. The pre-applications are to help identify eligible businesses. Businesses need to have 5 employees or less, which includes the owner. And startup businesses are businesses that have 6 months or less at time of application.
And this is a grant, it's not a low-interest loan, it's not paid back to the municipality or the state, as long as you fulfill the requirements which would be laid out. We want to make sure if you're here with interest in the grant that you've signed it, because one of the things we need to do is demonstrate an interest. I was a little concerned, I had shared with Nicole, that it had been quite some time since the report was done in the newspaper, and we may need to have another public session. We did this before the room was nearly full of curious and interested people. But please, we want to hear from you now. Questions, concerns of any kind? What are your thoughts? What are your needs? And let's see if this will help.
And the pre-applications will be confidential in the grant, so any financial information that's provided will be confidential as we go forward. Once we review the pre-applications, there will be a formal application if awarded by the funding agency.
So you are required to hire one person after the grant?
We will fund approximately 7 to 10 businesses through this grant program.
And I'm going to be required to hire somebody after I get the grant?
They are not necessarily required to hire someone, but then if they're not hiring, they need to be eligible income from a low to moderate income standpoint themselves. So in which case they would be providing machinery, equipment, other business training as part of their expenses.
I was confused. I saw Bernie for President bumper sticker outside on one of the cars. I was a little late, I'm sorry.
It's a subliminal campaign.
Okay. I wasn't sure what state I was in. We're a successful applicant, receiver of the grant. It helped us tremendously. I'm hoping I missed some of the preamble, but would it exclude our business from applying again that we were already successful?
My understanding is it would not exclude you as long as you meet those 2 qualifications. You either are hiring a new LMI position or you're income eligible on yourself.
Okay, to answer the gentleman's question, my children were income eligible, which worked out very nicely. I revisited the town's questions and master plan and everything, and there's a lot of emphasis on agricultural. I would encourage, as you write this grant, there's a couple of agri-businesses that are in the beginning stages in the town of Plattsburgh, and I participate on the Agri-Tourism Committee for the Chamber of Commerce. I would encourage in the grant writing that some emphasis be given to agri-tourism businesses, because it is so expensive and hard to start one. But such in the case of the winery and cidery that we have, and running the Brew Fest that's going to be on August 1st on the beach, the city, and the wine festival, it brings people into the community from out of the area. Agri-tourism businesses, people will travel far distances. So there's a lot of good things that happen if you help fund, such as George and Melissa at Country Dreams Farm. They're trying to get something going with their corn maze and things like that, us with things. So I would encourage the town in this grant to put some emphasis on agribusiness.
Others, what would you propose to do? How would this help you?
Me personally, we're looking to open up a business. I have a couple different sawmills now. I do a lot with live edge slabs, furniture, stuff like that. So we're looking at having something here in Plattsburgh to sell domestic hardwoods, moldings, custom flooring. We do a lot of that. along with furniture, but it's exciting. There's definitely, I mean, now I work at Lowe's, I've been there for 11 years. I'm all done Friday to kind of start this out, but there's a definite need for something like that around here, for sure.
Well, one of the things we learned last round, there were, I felt like 20 or 30 interested projects in the informational meeting. And when we mentioned you had to go to the strictly small business administration, it was 30 clock hours of time and how to write a business plan, et cetera. That weeded that number down quickly. And there were a few people who were experienced, and really from everyone, including those who had some business experience. And those who finished it had very positive feedback that they learned things. Well, you were there, so. And it really helped them look at how to successfully start a business. And part of this is you don't just want to throw money at people and, you don't want to fail, you don't want them to fail. What are the components to being able to invest, get started, especially small business, a lot of vulnerabilities. And that was found to be very, very helpful. Anyone else? I don't know what your thoughts, projects are, Tom?
We're
No, I
looking,
meant-
oh, a different time, I'm sorry,
Tom Ryder.
my fault.
I'm here because it interests me a little bit. I have a business here in town, been around a long time, so my thing isn't startup, but I think that we're entering a time and an age where governments are here to facilitate people that have been successful, that have good businesses, that need a step up, that need to grow a little bit, just need a little push. Maybe it's some retraining, maybe it's whatever it is. I think that this community should help the existing people that have been successful, help the people that have wintered it for years through the thing, and that's why I'm here. It's not necessarily a startup, it's not looking for a free handout, but a little bit of help. I'd like to upgrade my equipment. I need a new roof. Everybody thinks because you're in business you have all this extra money running around, but the last couple winters doesn't necessarily mean
We
that.
don't set the
So that's
parameters.
why I'm here.
We don't set the parameters for this, they're given to us. And we've had businesses expand. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's, if you have 5 or fewer employees?
Correct, it's 5 or fewer employees. 50% of the funds must be used for startup businesses, but the other 50% can be used towards existing businesses.
So that's why I'm here. I have 4 employees, so I'm expressing the interest in signing my name.
Yeah.
See what happens.
And one of the firms, for example, at our last go-around was Green Mountain Coffee Roasters out of Peru, and they
Adirondack.
Adirondack Coffee Roasters out of Peru, and they established a location on Route 3, and they're selling their coffee products out of there, and that was something that they had not had the opportunity to do, and it seems to have worked very well for them. They've now been there for a couple of years, and they had one little blip with a bit of a fire one day, and their roaster got a little over ambitious.
I think as everybody knows, being in business costs a significant amount of money today. You want to upgrade some equipment, even if you just need a new computer or something simple. Machinery for me is extremely expensive. And,
Tom, what's your business?
I own the spectacle shop, make glasses, fit contacts, that's it. So this criteria, that's why I'm here, to get the paper and the criteria and find out. See what happens.
I have a question. What is the parameters for LMI?
The low to moderate income levels are set at the HUD level.
Do you know what they are?
I'd have to check it specifically, I don't know off the top of my head, the dollar amount, because it varies by community. And then if I get this correct, 70% of it needs to just fund the LMI. And LMI is determined by a 57% of the total median household, it's a.
And that's only determined
Whatever.
by the business owner, or like if my employee is in that LMI and I give them a raise based off this grant, is that acceptable as well?
Right, so the employees themselves just need to be in a position that it would be a available to anyone without a high level of education.
There was some question about that earlier. Are you actually required to hire someone or to make it available to an LMI?
It needs to be made available.
Because it could be the owner, you said.
Right, it could be the owner. You could advertise the position and have someone that has a PhD, but not necessarily be income eligible, that ends up getting the position, but it's been made available to all of those income brackets.
Any other thoughts, questions?
You said the turnaround on this is like January?
Yes, approximately January. So the decision would be funded in December, contract would be January if successful, and then there would be the beginning stages. So then businesses would have to go through that training program, which is the 30 hours before they would be able to incur any costs. So existing businesses or even startup businesses, anything that you invest prior to that would not be an eligible 10% match.
And you were saying that the employee eligibility has to be at the time of application. This is a pre-application. When's the actual application?
The actual application would be when the grant is awarded and we begin the contracting next 2016. So this is just to prove that we have enough interest, that we have enough eligible businesses to be able to secure the grant.
We still have to apply. We don't have the money yet.
Right.
They
We
wanna
need to
make-
generate more interest.
Yeah, right, and we'll work with the Small Business Center to also reach out, and we'll make these applications, these pre-applications available on the website, and we'll spread the word.
And is the maximum award per business 20,000?
It's,
Up to 20,000?
the actual award can be between 5,000 to 35,000, but in order to benefit the greatest number of businesses, we're saying an average of 20. So depending on what your project need is, some businesses may need 15,000, some might need 22,000, but trying to be fair in developing that process.
We have a local contact that works with the project, and the closeout, when everything is, all the requirements have been met, you just come to the town hall, we close it out, we check. Many times those are done in stages. It goes quite seamless once we get in.
Right. And I mentioned that 50% has to go to the startup businesses, so if there are less startup businesses, they could receive a greater amount of the money. So there could be 3 startup businesses that get 35,000, and existing businesses get 15, depending on who actually applies, but 50% has to go to those startups.
Did an existing business owner that has an interest in starting up a new business apply for the startup money?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's going to be a
Tax ID
separate
and everything.
business, yep, they'll have to have their own separate tax ID number.
And this is a $200,000 grant, correct? And what percentage of that is used for businesses and what percentage is used for administrative fees?
25% would go towards the administrative fees, program delivery, the training,
Yes.
all of that element. So approximately 50,000 would come off the top, and then 150 would go to businesses.
Okay, well,
It's just one of the ways, though, we feel that it can help to try to get some small businesses off the ground, or increasing their number of employees, or bettering their business. So we really like to see a lot of small businesses in our town.
And to help our existing small businesses.
Yeah.
That's really
And it can be exactly what we've been talking about tonight. It can be, it can be a startup, somebody who's just got an idea and a dream and some energy, and it can be an expansion of a business, where somebody knows that, they've been in doing the work in the field in a given aspect of the business, and they know that where that business is going, and they just need some capital in order to be able to move into that area, and this could be their opportunity.
and that's the business. We had that model before with the coffee roasters that was able to create a new site in the town. But I want to make sure it's also existing business that expanded. We had a lady last time had a small hairdressing operation at home. And her business was such, if she could get enough money to get another chair, she could bring in another hairdresser and double her operation. She did. O'Neill's Laundry in Katyville. She was one that was in the newspaper story. She had a dry cleaning business, which was doing well, but she realized if she had the funding in her building, she had plenty of space, she could open a laundromat with it. And she got the funding, bought the machines, and improved her business profitability significantly. So it's expanding into the town. It's a business in the town, expanding, brand new startup. There are a variety of opportunities. And I really would encourage you to grab the literature. Nicole's going to leave you her contact information. You can give her a call. She has to drive back to Saratoga this evening. So I will close this out if there are no further questions. And she's going to go out into the hall if you want to meet with her individually, make sure you've got what you need. And pass the word. We will have another session, another opportunity. You can come back, we'll get some other folks, because we want a strong application. We just need to hear from more people in the community. I know there are more. We just didn't make it tonight. Does anyone else have a question? Does anyone have any written comments to put into the record of the hearing? If not, I'd look for a motion to close the public hearing. Ms. LaFave, second Mr. Mannix. Any discussion? Your roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes for both.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Michael LaFave,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, we'll close the public hearing at 7:23. Thank you for coming. Make sure we got your name on the sign-in sheet, get some information. Nicole, if you want to take her out to the hall, and thank you for coming this evening. When you send some of the right stuff to me, I'll get it on our webpage. The meeting is going on.
How are you? Nice article. Getting good feedback. And we sold about 30 tickets overnight. This is my biggest fear.
Okay,
They say
we
those
are
rains during
going to
fair week.
continue our meeting this evening.
Have you moved the
More
fair?
regular business.
Not to yours.
Resolution 124, abstract 6A-15.
Resolved that the abstract of audit of claim number 6A-15, 844 to 922 for $301,886.25. And abstract 6A-15, 180 to 200 prepaid in the amount of $554,937.37 be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and supervisors hereby authorized to pay said
I
abstract.
have a motion. Mr. Cashman, second. Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Michael Fave, Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 125, temporary seasonal hire for lifeguards in the recreation department.
Where the supervisor has received a letter dated May 28, 2015 from Melanie DeFayette, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting to hire summer lifeguards. Whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied, and the Youth Service and Recreation Director recommends that the attached list of candidates be approved to be said positions. Now therefore be resolved, the supervisor is authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire seasonal temporary help in the Park and Recreation Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Finance Manager, Youth Director, Pool Insurance, and Clinton County Civil Service Department personnel for final approval and final.
Have a motion. Mr. Cashman, second. Mr. Mannix. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix, Michael Cash,
Yes.
Michael Fave, Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 126, junkyard license renewal for 28 Flanagan Drive.
Whereas the town clerk has received an application and fees for a licensed to operate a junkyard business from Ricky Lyman, 28 Flanagan Drive, parcel 221.9-1-21. And whereas Steve Limehoff, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed the inspection of the property and said applicant is now in compliance. Now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby receive and place on file said application and authorize the town clerk to issue a junkyard license to the aforementioned applicant in compliance with this letter issued by Steve Limehoff, Code Enforcement Officer of the town of Plattsburgh. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, town clerk, and codes department.
Have a motion. Mr. Fave, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Patton.
Yes.
Michael LaFave,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 127, bid award for base sewer slip lining Phase 3 contract 2015.
Whereas resolution 15-122 authorized to establish the capital project for the base sewer slip lining, and all bids were received and opened on May 22nd, 2015. Whereas the bids were received from Canyon Pipeline Inspection, Arl Construction, and Sanex Pipe Services Incorporated. Whereas Scott Sauter, Director of Water and Wastewater, Ron LeBurge, Civil Engineer, the LeBurge Engineering Consulting Group, and the Town Clerk have reviewed all bids received. Now therefore be resolved that the contract bid for base sewer lining 2015 be awarded to the low bidder of Arl Construction, 51 Power Mill Bridge Road, Kingston, New York, 12401, in the amount of $193,100. And it be further resolved, the town board approve the contract as recommended, and it be further resolved that payment be made payable from the 2015 capital project budget account, and that a copy of this resolution be given to the Director of Water and Wastewater Department and the Finance Manager.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Anything from the Water Wastewater Committee?
This is also for the only wage.
I can't verify that, but I'm confident it is, as they have been in the past. They've worked for us before.
Yes. There was a primary first and
Any other discussion?
Are these the only three that we received?
Yes. Three bids.
three, Tom.
Right, there was only three.
There was a 200,000 budget.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Patton.
Yes.
Michael LaFave,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 128, letter of resignation from Ms. Mallon.
Whereas Ms. Candace Mallory, account clerk typist for the Water and Wastewater Department, has submitted a letter of resignation from her position in the town of Plattsburgh effective June 26, 2015. Therefore be resolved to accept and place on file Ms. Mallory's letter of resignation, and it be further resolved to supersend a letter on behalf of the town board thanking Ms. Mallory for her years of service at the town of Plattsburgh and wishing her well with her future endeavors. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, water and wastewater director, and a copy placed in Ms. Mallory's personnel file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second. Mr. Wood, any discussion? I really want to point out Candace's letter of resignation. And, over the years, over many years, I've seen letters of resignation that were sad departures and those that were bitter departures, individuals who burned their bridges when they left, etc. I was just very impressed with Candace's letter. It was not only very professional, very personal, very complimentary, acknowledging her opportunity over the past 6 years to grow professionally and learn new skills, and her not only interests, but she's included her personal email, her personal phone number for the department or for a replacement to contact if they need any help or anything. And it's just really very positive. I just think highly of the way she composed this letter of resignation. And I have indicated the same to her, and, you know, we encourage you to do the same as well. She's a young woman, and, you know, she may have many jobs in her career before she retires, and I think it's good that she learns how to gracefully move on. So I was just very impressed with how she did this. And it speaks well for the department. They've gone through a number of changes. I was speaking to Mr. Stoddard today, and he'll begin some interviews for a couple of positions, and changes in his office staff. There are going to be more changes in the future. He's really molding his team. Change is exciting, but when you've got a very small team and everybody has an area of expertise, a skill that they bring to the front, when you lose them, it leaves a hole. We talk a lot about cross-training, but you still specialize. You know? That becomes the individual. People come in the building, they call on them to get answers to their questions. But anyway, I just wanted to point out, I thought she did a really great job, very appropriate, very professional with her letter. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Michael Patrick.
Yes.
Meg Lefebvre,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes, resolution carries. That's what I have for the evening. That and a don't build an ark yet. Remember, it could be worse, it could be in Texas. If there is no other business, I would seek a motion to adjourn. Mr. Lefebvre, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Michael Patrick.
Yes.
Meg Lefebvre,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes, we will stand adjourned at 7:32.